Good morning. What a sparkling day. How good it is to be together. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. A special welcome for the second Sunday in a row also to our visitors from Transylvania who are here with us, Reverend Zavolch Kellerman and his wife Annika, who's the head of the Women's Alliance over in Transylvania at the Unitarian Church there. This is the day we have been given. May we make the very most of it, starting now together. This is our chance to say hi to everybody. The folks who are sitting very close to us, the folks who are sitting far away from us, I encourage everybody to get up and move around as you're able. Like to make sure, as always, that no one goes ungreeted, unwelcomed, uncared for here in our meeting house. So let's say hi to everybody. And before we take our seats, can we do what we always do? Rise as we are able and warmly wave and greet everybody who's at home, who is joining us that way. Hi, everybody at home. We're so glad you're tuning in that way. We're so glad we can be connected with you in that way. And now, David Anthony, our worship associate, is going to lead us in our chalice lighting. It's in your order of service. Burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path toward harmony, justice, and hope for all. Not everyone searches for a place they can share, for a faith they can share, for a community they can share, where they can be known, where they can know, for a place and a people to belong with, to be known for who and not what we are. But if you are here, odds are that you have come for these, at least some of these: faith, community, a place to be known, a place to know, a place and a people to belong with. Now we are here in this time of war and anguish, persecution and retribution, when humanity's inhumanity is breaking our hearts anew in Armenia and Azerbaijan, in Israel, Palestine, in so many places, for so many devastated people. This is reminding us how precious and precarious is peace, how necessary and rare is relationship, how sacred and challenged is love. What a rare and precious journey we are on here, we who are here, to participate in this community as varied and united, as Unitarian Universalist as this, to know ourselves, our flaws and challenges and growing edges and beauties and abilities, to be known, our flaws and challenges and growing edges and beauties and abilities, to remind ourselves of the power of communion and care, of the reasons for hope, which include the strength we draw from this beloved community and our shared pain and our shared hope. So see and be seen, open and be opened, give and be given. We are here, we are welcome, we are different, we all belong here. So come, let us worship together. Our covenant of this church is next in your order of service. Can we say this together? And visitors are always welcome to speak these words as well, if you're moved. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice. And our opening hymn is number 315, This Old World. Can we rise in body or spirit and sing out as we are able?
Our first reading is a reading by the American feminist Episcopalian theologian and priest, Dr. Carter Hayward. We are not automatic lovers of self, others, world, or God. Love does not just happen. We are not love machines, puppets on the strings of a deity called love. Love is a choice, not simply or necessarily a rational choice, but rather a willingness to be present to others without pretense or guile. Love is a conversion to humanity, a willingness to participate with others in the healing of a broken world and broken lives. Love is the choice to experience life as a member of the human family, a partner in the dance of life, rather than as an alien in the world or as a deity above the world, aloof and apart from human flesh. Our second reading is from The Inner Edge by contemporary Quaker theologian Parker Palmer. Whether we know it or not, like it or not, honor it or not, we are embedded in community. Whether we think of ourselves as biological creatures or spiritual beings or both, the truth remains. We were created in and for a complex ecology of relatedness, and without it, we wither and die. This simple fact has critical implications. Community is not a goal to be achieved, but a gift to be received. When we treat community as a product that we must manufacture instead of a gift that we have been given, it will elude us eternally. When we try to make community happen, driven by desire, design, and determination, places within us where the ego often lurks, we can make a good guess at the outcome. We will exhaust ourselves and alienate each other, snapping the connections we yearn for. Too many relationships have been diminished or destroyed by a drive toward community building, which evokes a grasping that is the opposite of what we need to do. Relax into our created condition and receive the gift we have been given. Our third reading is from See No Stranger by contemporary Sikh author and activist Valerie Kaur. Love is a form of sweet labor, fierce, bloody, imperfect, and life-giving, a choice we make over and over again. Love as labor can be taught, modeled, and practiced. This labor engages all of our emotions. Joy is the gift of love. Grief is the price of love. Anger protects that which is loved, and when we think we have reached our limit, wonder is the act that returns us to love. Revolutionary love is the choice to labor for others, for our opponents, and for ourselves in order to transform the world around us. It begins with wonder. You are a part of me I do not know yet. It is not a formal code or prescription, but an orientation to life that is personal and political, sustained by joy. Loving only ourselves is escapism. Loving only our opponents is self-loathing. Loving only others is ineffective. All three practices together make love revolutionary, and revolutionary love can only be practiced in community.
job. We are now going to share the joys and sorrows that bring us together in beloved community. This weekend, Temple Fawcett died suddenly. She moved to Wingate on Friday, and at the end of that day said to Marilyn Ennett that she expected she would be very happy in that new place, and went to bed and never woke up again. It is a blessing to know that she was in peace of mind and happiness when she went. Myrna, her sister-in-law, lives on the West Coast, and we started talking about a memorial service, and then Myrna broke her toe. So, please stay tuned. I will let you know what happens for the memorial. Meanwhile, we have a candle of sorrow at the unexpected death of Temple Fawcett on Friday. A close friend, Amy Grant, had said, at 96 years of age, Temple showed us how to live in this world with dignity, curiosity, and compassion for others. And candles of gratitude for the loving kindness given to Temple Fawcett by her friends Lynn Bradford and Amy Grant, which I know Temple truly appreciated. A candle of remembrance for my mother-in-law. This comes from Claire Rosenbaum. A candle of remembrance for my mother-in-law and Hannah's grandmother, Berta Rosenbaum, who passed away on October 10th. She will always be remembered with love. Some candles for healing for Herb Weiss Friedman, who is in Rhode Island Hospital recovering from foot surgery, and Nancy Weiss Friedman, who is at home with COVID and not tending to Herb and his foot surgery. And a candle of healing and recovery to Susan Fisher, who suffered some complications after surgery and finds herself back in the hospital. And a candle of recovery and wellness to Nick Dunn, who is sitting over here with the crutches. After breaking his leg, he made his way from New Bedford to here because he was going to miss us for the next couple of months. Thank you for that, Nick. And a candle of joy. It has been, this is from Tom Getz, it has been a pleasure hosting our visitors from our partner church in Santa Haja. Let your last days be fun and pleasurable. It has been a pleasure getting to know you better. All of you who have had the opportunity, I'm sure, agree. Good travels, safe travels, and God bless. Let us now prepare our hearts and minds for prayer and meditation. The prayer is adapted from the words and writings of the theologian and scholar and minister William Sloane Coffin. Remember, after the prayer, we'll share some silence, and if you've lost someone this year, please raise your hand or stand with us in silent solidarity as we offer tribute to those losses of loved ones. To begin, let us come fully present into the room. Please take a deep breath with me. take another breath. Hear your hearts. And one more breath. Spirit of life and love, dear God, grant us the commitment never to sell ourselves short, the courage to risk something big for something good, and the clarity to remember the world is too dangerous for anything but truth, and too small for anything but love. And so, God, grant us this, that we may let love take our minds and think through them. Let love take our lips and speak through them. Let love take our hearts and set them on fire. For this we are called always to love beyond belief. May we find blessing and belonging in our answering.
We're having issues with the microphones today. Can you hear me okay? Okay. There are a lot of off-the-cuff summations of Unitarian and Universalist belief and practice. One is that Unitarians are the people of the head, and Universalists are the people of the heart. And another is the old joke I've told you before. Universalists believe that God is too good to damn them. Unitarians believe they're too good for God to damn. But in the end, there is some recognizable seed underneath all the jokes and generalizations. These two religions merged in the 1960s, rightly seeing that they were so alike and aligned that they would be stronger together, bringing gifts each other needed, and together they could grow. I was raised in an originally Unitarian church that kept that name, the First Unitarian Society of Newton, until just a few years ago, even though it wholly claimed modern Unitarian Universalist identity. And I can see how much in that church we were more about ideas than feelings. Even a little suspicious of feelings. And that this began to change in ways that were enriching for us, not least because for a long time we had a very beloved minister, my inspiration to ministry, Jerry Crick, who was not the greatest preacher, but was a marvelous pastoral and caring leader who grew his church nonetheless, simply with the power of his goodness. I remember also when the catchphrase of Unitarian Universalism as I was growing up was reason, freedom, and tolerance. Is that familiar? It must be familiar to people who've been around for a while. It made sense. We have always been and will, I hope, always be a faith allied with science and thought, a faith that believes people must be free to explore their questions and answers of faith and meaning, a faith that seeks to respect all others and create environments for sharing and learning rather than exclusion and judgment. But in the end, people seek more than just to be tolerated. No one goes to church to be tolerated. Thank God we can laugh about it. I mean, honestly, right? And so we learned as a faith to push for more radical welcome and inclusion. And while reason and freedom are still important to us, there were other religious values and elements we realized was missing. And one that had been much more spoken of in our religious past was love. In fact, there was an old historic covenant that was so popular among Unitarian churches at one time that many of them used slightly varying versions of the exact same covenant rather than creating their own. And it was still in use at the small and lovely First Religious Society in Carlisle, Massachusetts, which is the Unitarian Universalist Church where I trained as a young ministry student many centuries ago. And that covenant went like this. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve humanity in friendship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with each other and with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another and with God. So now we are coming back as a movement to think about love and where it belongs in our faith and communities. And in the last couple of decades, it has helped to undergird our social justice work. First, as we declared we were standing on the side of love, and then simplified it to just side with love, which has informed everything we've done as a church and a larger faith, from marriage equality advocacy to immigration justice. Currently, Unitarian Universalism's Article 2 Study Commission has found that love is an essential shared theological core value for our faith, so much so that they are putting forward new language and definitions for our self-understanding, which put love conceptually and even visually at the center. And our own First U has also done work around this, and a little in advance of the larger national movement, about a year before COVID hit, we spent a week and a half working with Reverend Dr. Tandeyaka, a leading Unitarian Universalist theologian and congregational consultant on many levels. She met with lay leadership, staff, committees, laity generally, to look at what our hopes and needs were for our church as an institution and as a community. And one of the many results that came out of that time was the worship committee's unanimous and enthusiastic endorsement of changes to our worship service, including choosing to begin our services with a phrase that Tandeyaka had invited us to consider with her, the declaration that this is a place where we love beyond belief. Now, there's at least a twofold nature to this. First, of course, the suggestion that there is a lot of love here, right? That's what X beyond belief means. More than one might expect, even more than one might believe, and that this is what we can find when we are part of this beloved community. I think that's true. The more time I spend here in this community, the more clear it is to me, as your senior minister, how many layers of family and friendship and long-standing ties and fresh, vital new connections and depths of compassion and service and sharing that are wonderful and inspiring to me as your minister. I learn about new ones all the time, people quietly doing amazing things as demonstrations of care and commitment for each other that blow me away. The second side of love beyond belief is the affirmation that love ties us together regardless of and across many different beliefs. Unitarian Universalism is a pluralistic faith, the only pluralistic faith in the world. Some of us believe in God. Some of us do not. Some follow the teaching of the Buddha. Some grew up in Islam and are still informed by what we learned there. Some are humanists. Some are pagans. Some are mystics. Some are rooted in our Jewish heritage. Some are panentheists, meaning that they see God infused throughout the physical world in everything. Some are not sure what we believe. Some of us are finding our beliefs are changing, whether we wanted them to or not, and we aren't yet sure where they're landing. But all of us, for all of us, this church, with its character, commitments, and community, traditions and talents, and vast array of beliefs, all welcome, all valid, all worth learning and sharing with each other. For us, this is where we find meaning. Religion is like a rose with many petals, like a gem with many facets. And we like to explore it all, and that's where we find our meaning. And that is also where we belong. That's the church we believe in, the church we can love, the church where we can be loved, whatever our individual beliefs, love regardless of belief, love beyond belief. And it is beginning to live into that love beyond belief identity that has shown me the more ways that this journey carries promise than I could have imagined. And our relationship with Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church, Bethel AME, is such a beautiful example of this. We heard the song which their then music director, Delbert Collins, wrote about that relationship during COVID and performed at a joint service that we did over the internet. We couldn't be together yet, which he has given permission for us to do again this morning. And what a beautiful rendition that was. And completely unknown to me, and what a delightful surprise, Bethel AME's Reverend Teresa Jenkins has come to visit us this morning. Teresa, can you stand up just to put you on the spot? I did not say that I was preaching about Bethel this weekend, and she's just here, I guess, as an emissary and friend, and I couldn't believe it when she came up to me when we were doing the greeting, and I was like, oh my gosh, what a gift. I remember one day a few years ago sitting at lunch at Greg's over on North Main Street with Pastor Howard Jenkins, and this is a thing we do. I hope you know this, Teresa, that he has lunch a lot. We either meet at Greg's or more recently at Red Stripe over in Wayland Square. Either place, you can get an enormous slice of cake for dessert. But that's beside the point. We were at Greg's and nowhere near ready for dessert. And I was telling Pastor Jenkins about our work with Tandaica, which was happening at the time, and the fruit that it was bearing within First U. And he said, but that's also us. I love that. That's also what we're doing with our churches. We believe differently, but we are building relationships of trust and care, of love beyond belief. We are creating love beyond belief that is powerful and important, especially now when so many connections in society are breaking down. We are building up relations grounded in respect and mutuality. We are learning from each other. We are growing each other in love beyond belief. This, what you and I are doing, what our churches are doing, is also love beyond belief, which honestly had not occurred to me until that moment. And I cannot tell you the impact of having Pastor Jenkins say that to me. It's so easy to be a well-meaning straight white person reading all kinds of meaning into situations without really being sure whether our perception is shared by those inhabiting very different identities and realities. And I knew that Pastor Jenkins and I were both very bought into what we were doing, but I didn't anticipate that depth of communion from him. And it hadn't occurred to me that our first Unitarian love beyond belief could reach not just among us all and whoever comes next in our doors, but beyond us. But the greatest lesson I have learned from Howard Jenkins is his insight that integration without relationship is still segregation. I have told you this before. I pray that it sounds familiar. It's so important. Integration without relationship is still segregation. Can we say that together? Integration without relationship is still segregation. And that is not just about race, but it is so much about race. I cannot tell you how wholly I believe that that is what's wrong with every one of our society's failed attempts at integration. They were always, everything that hasn't worked, they were always integration without relationship. And love beyond belief is all about building relationships. Let me acknowledge, though, that love beyond belief relationships are not only intended as a means for justice work. When Tendayaka began to amplify on this concept, her idea was that love beyond belief enhances spiritual vitality by building loving kindness within our churches, open-heartedness that comes from discovering connections between us that create awe and care and joy. We begin to feel and offer a love that is unconditional. Maybe we start with less conditional, but eventually unconditional in small and then larger ways. And that's when we engage the real power of love, the power to heal hearts, mend souls, calm our anxious minds, because we are feeling and being woven into love. As Tendayaka lays it out, in the language of theism, the experience of love beyond belief can be defined as an experience of God. In the language of humanism, the experience of love beyond belief can be described as a flash of insight and understanding, bringing humanity together. These experiences mark the beginning of wholeness in our broken lives. I remember when I first came to First U for my candidating week some years ago, I talked about some of this in a different way. I talked about all the defensive layers that we grow around ourselves to get through life, and the loneliness of dwelling within those defensive layers. And that church invites us to shed those layers, to trust, to be open to each other in order to allow ourselves the incredible experience of deep community that is communion when all souls shall grow into harmony with each other and the divine. Closeness rather than distance, and trust rather than protection, and respect and even cherishing rather than duty, or, God forbid, political correctness. And I know closeness is not comfortable for all of us. For some of us, it is almost never comfortable. But some quality of closeness is part of being in community. And it is part of what we are working on here, getting closer, shedding our layers, trusting, sharing, growing our love. I was talking with Zach Metger, who's a member of this congregation. She's usually over teaching Sunday school on Sunday mornings, although this morning she is with my puppies so that I can be here with you. I have Zach's permission to tell you that I was talking about this sermon with her earlier this week, and she said she has mixed feelings about us declaring we are a church that loves beyond belief, both because she heard it was something that was imposed on us from above, maybe by Tandaica. She didn't know about the work that the worship team had done and the wholehearted embrace of it, and also for me. She didn't know it was a choice. But more importantly, and I am so honored that she confided this to me and then said she was fine with me sharing this with you, speaking of being vulnerable and dropping layers. Also, love beyond belief is hard for Zach to believe in because she has not experienced a lot of love ever in her life. So love literally doesn't feel to her like a reality and something she can lean into. And Zach is such a marvelous, you may or may not know her, she's such a marvelous person that she hasn't known abundant love in her life, much love at all, let alone abundant, is heartbreaking. Truly. And I am so glad that we are here as a place that matters to her, where she does a great deal for us and has friends and feels at home. It's not just for the church, it's with the church. It's in the church. So I'll take at home for now. Zach feels at home here. And that in itself is a blessing. But one day for her and for all of us, I want her to feel loved. I want her to feel it. And for all of us to feel it. Because she is. And I want her to know it. I want us all to know it, to feel it, to help the joy and care that comprise love flow abundantly within and among us all. I remember once when I was visiting a favorite congregation, I've talked to you about them before, Middle Collegiate in New York City, and I was there for worship, and there were already people sitting in every pew. I don't know if anybody has ever had that experience of coming to a church where the pews are mostly full already. It's awkward. So hesitantly, it's a super multicultural, multiracial congregation, incredibly powerful in their justice work, incredibly joyful in everything they do, which is why I love going. And I approached a woman who was sitting alone on the aisle in her pew. She was African American, and I asked if I could sit in that pew also, which meant I had to walk, ease past her. And she smiled, and she said, "Of course," and made room for me to pass her. And so I sat next to her, not too close, not too far. Distance is always different in each congregation. Feeling awkward because I didn't know her or anybody else there. And she turned to me and said, "How are you?" Like she meant it. Not like, "How are you?" Not just a politeness, like she actually cared about my answer. I was so shocked that I automatically said, "Fine," without thinking. I was so much less thoughtful than she had been. And then I asked her how she was, and the horrible truth is that I do not remember her answer because I was still so blown away by her question. Simply by how she asked it. Such an ordinary question. But she sounded like she cared. It is part of the love that flows palpably in that church which is part of why I always go there when I can, because in that church, I feel love beyond belief every time. It is sustaining and inspiring, and it gives me so much hope about everything to be there. Although it is a Dutch Reformed church, and our beliefs are different. Middle collegiate taught me that perhaps second only to a happy family, church should be the last place where people should feel skeptical about their ability to give or receive love and care to each other. I mean it. I came here because I fell for this church, for all of you, twice. Right? I searched, you picked James, that's fine. He's so good. I can see why you did. And then I came back for more. I was so in love with you. Thank God you picked me the second time, because I was really not going to be okay. I see and experience love among this beloved community all the time, and I see the ways we care for each other and our world growing all the time. To the end, I hope and believe that all of us will see and experience love in this beloved community, that eventually we could be so good at it that people will feel it here from the moment we first arrive to the end of our days here. The kind of soul-sharing, soul-supporting, soul-learning, and connections I'm talking about do not require that we all know each other inside out and bear everything. But it does require that we Yankees be close sometimes. Especially now, when we're moving through such difficult times. We are none of us alone in this. We can do it together, and all it takes is caring and staying connected with each other. When things are hard or intimidating, we need to look carefully and gently at each other. We need to open up rather than protect ourselves from each other and feel the acceptance and support we offer each other on this journey. That is what love beyond belief means. It is powerful medicine. It is what the doctor ordered for such days of division and struggle. Some of us, you've told me, already see the power of its healing, already feel it deepening within you or among you. I hope we can keep love here, grow it, channel it, manifest it more and more. How are you? How are you? Amen. Our closing hymn is number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Can we rise and join in singing in body or spirit? brings us to our offering, our chance to practice generosity, a chance to open our wallets, pocketbooks, phones, howsoever you choose to give, as well as ourselves. Please give as generously as you are able to the life and the work of this beloved community, and thank you so much always for all that you give, all that you do, and all that you are. among the many ways to be faithful in the near term. If you are interested in learning more about Unitarian Universalism or knowing what it means to be a member of First U, please be sure to sign up for the Path to Membership class. The next session is set to meet next Saturday morning and Sunday after worship. You will meet members of the staff, including myself and Reverend Roger, and other newcomers or those interested in membership, and there will be time for questions and discussion. Sunday session includes a tour of the church facilities, including the steeple, which is so much taller up there than you think. Speak to Jen Nardone today after worship. You will find her in the Newcomers Cafe. Jen, are you still in here to wave and be identified? Or nope, she's gone already to set up. Don't forget that the First U auction online bidding begins Wednesday at noon. You will receive a link to the auction in the special Wednesday email. There was a link to the auction preview in last Friday's First U Times. Look at over the 70 items up for bid or sale. You can begin your bidding online and enter proxy bids if you cannot attend the event. But we hope to see you all at the live event on Saturday, November 4th. It is going to be a great time. What will be the bidding war item this year? And there are many other items on the back of your order of service. I'll just point out that we also have lunch with our Transylvanian visitors up in the auditorium starting at noon for people who'd love to spend that time and learn more. I'm going to do the benediction before the chalice extinguishing. Teresa of Avila taught this: pray as you can, for prayer doesn't consist of thinking a great deal, but of loving a great deal. We are not here by accident, sharing breath, air, time, hope, difference, sameness, life, love, music, faith. Sometimes blessings stream past us like a breeze on a pretty day, while we attend to all that tugs and tears at our souls. Let us heed also our blessings and opportunities, and close with gratitude, because we are here, and we are welcome, and we are different, and we are the same. May our harmony, understanding, and strength grow evermore the heart of this church, and flow in us and through us as never a burden, but a strength, as never a duty, but a joy. Go in love.
Now I invite you to join me in the reciting of the words for our chalice extinguishing.
We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again. Luke Picard may love be your guide as we sing ourselves out.